Hello everyone. It's time to manage some packages. Why am I wearing headphones? Why am I wearing headphones? It's a heat wave. Again, it never isn't a heat wave. It's always a heat wave. It'll forever be a heat wave. It really doesn't make sense to be constantly wearing headphones when I'm not listening to anything anyway. Okay. So, it is time to manage some packages. Alright, so here's the thing. My OS needs a package manager. We're gonna make a package manager. That is the simple explanation for what I'm going to do. Now, I had a longer explanation. I wrote down some notes on how this package manager could work in a somewhat decentralized way using different sources as the place from which to get packages. And then they just kind of disappeared. I still don't entirely know what happened there. All I know is I was writing them and then they were gone, and then they weren't even in Control Z. They were, I don't know what I did. I don't know how I did that, but they were gone. And I refuse to write them again. Most importantly, because that is not the thing that I'm going to be working on at first. Alright, so the thing about a package manager is that it needs to, at least an OS-wide package manager, like package management in general. Because package manager is a word that has a meaning to it. But management of packages, in this case, includes installing applications, installing... Oh man, I have to... Alright, let me actually begin with a disclaimer. I just had dinner. I'm tired as hell. The heat waves got me fucking flatlining, so I may lose my train of thought very often. Disclaimer given. Package management involves everything from installing applications, installing binaries such as, terminal, CLI tools and whatnot, but also knowing what is installed. And I think that is a good place to start. Let me start from within the operating system, because what I was going to do was the other way around. Outside of the OS, the repository part of it that hosts the actual packages, and then you can download them and install them. No, let's begin with the package management locally. What applications are installed, what versions they have, all of that stuff. That is what I'm gonna start. That is what I'm gonna start with. Kind of random, but he looks like a young Dave Grohl. Interesting. Never been told that one before. Okay. So, the current state of package management is there's none. But the current state of packages, as it is in the OS, is as follows. Please don't crash on me. File browser may be a little bit unstable, right? But we have, hold on, actually, before the package manager, the launcher, we have these applications that I have installed, of which this row here and this one here are built into the system. They are compiled as part of the system itself. They are installed as part of the system itself. They're packaged with the system. That is how they work. And then we have these three up here, which I have installed. Installed being a little bit of a strong word because they are actually shared by Linux and made available to the OS through QEmu's file sharing with 9p. Not meant to be offensive. I know it's not meant to be offensive. Should that be offensive? I didn't take it as such. Thank you, though. I've just never been told that before, is what I'm saying. So already we have two sources from which the launcher is getting these things. And here's the part that I regret doing because I did it relatively recently. The launcher, which is itself an application that of course is not bundled within, it's not shown inside of the launcher because what's the point of the launcher launching the launcher? There's no point to that. So it kind of skips itself, literally like that. But essentially, the launcher will go through /home /applications and /boot /redOS /system. Applications is where it gets the first three, and this is where it gets the other four, the built-in ones. Of course, if I inverted this, then the built-in ones would be on top. There they are. But there should be, well, I kind of want to standardize it into a single place in which you go to get all the applications that are installed on the system. So ideally, you'll just go through here, list that, and those will be the entries. Which of course will not work. I want to make sure it doesn't crash or something. Okay, it doesn't. It just doesn't do anything. Very good. So that is what I wanted to do. That alone will make package management very easy. Although, of course, behind the scenes of /apps, there should be the package manager kind of handling everything, like, you know, an application is being installed. Does it go, because at the end of the day, these two directories are still going to exist. And these two directories are still, well, actually, this one may go. That's the part that I regret, by the way, which is not super relevant, so I didn't mention it. But /home and /shared kind of point to the same place. But that's the folder that Linux is sharing with us. I don't know how I feel about how I want to structure the entire like distributed file system that I'm moving towards. Do I want it to be explicit or implicit? A few questions that I have to ask myself when it comes to that. So, yeah, I guess we'll see. Anyway, not super relevant, but yeah, that is my source of confusion, even though it doesn't matter here. All right, so this is where applications are packaged, and applications actually come in a .red package. which just contains a binary and a resources folder. That's it. And an unused .bin binary, which is just stripped of all symbols. However, there is also... God, this part has moved around so much, I don't even remember where I have it. In tools, okay. There's also tools. /tools, which is already a manual, okay? A module. And /tools, much like /apps, is supposed to be where all your binary applications are installed. And much like /apps, it's not a real directory, it just collects the directories that contain it, that contain the different places where the apps are installed into one. Similar to how the path works in the terminal, but without being stupid, ideally. I guess we'll see, it might end up being stupider. However, this part here, which is what currently owns the /tools module, first off, it doesn't even work. And second, cannot really be done fully because there's like 4 different applications, these 4, ping, shutdown, traceroute, and monitor, which require, for design reasons mainly, kernel privileges. So they need to be run from within the kernel. So most likely the correct thing that I want to do is rename this to something like K-tools for kernel tools. And those are going to be loaded there, whereas the other tools module, which is going to be handled by the package manager, contains both these and the ones that are not owned by it. Like any tools that you might install onto the system elsewhere in user space. Which, if I'm not mistaken, you can install, but... yeah, to boot RedOS tools or to home tools. Right, so I'm already doing that thing in which I'm putting together 3 different locations for tools, but this is very explicit. The locations are literally hard-coded. So ideally, let's not do it like that. Break this thing apart a little bit more. So this will just point to /tools/program name and see if it's able to run it. And then /tools should be the one to run it. There is, however, a third type of process, third type of program that the system does not have, but I will need it to have if I want to do this, which are services. These should run at boot, and the first one of them should be, they can run even from user space. The first one of them should be, in fact, the package manager process. Now, I don't want to build the entire service infrastructure, most importantly, because this is something I realized maybe 30 minutes ago to an hour ago. So I want to think about it a little bit more. I'm taking a little bit longer with my design decisions nowadays. So ideally, I can do something quick for today and then something better later. But I can start building it to a certain extent. All right. Either way, well, okay, yeah, I'm gonna start building it. I'm just not gonna focus too much on that part. Not init, or does init start the first? So hold on, I don't know what move. Probably just me. I moved. No, still, this monitor is in front of the other one. I can't read the chat fully. All right, here we go. There is no init service. There's a kernel. Actually, you can see here the processes that have been launched. There's a boot state machine, which is kind of like an init, and it is the one that's going to start the services, by the way. That is process ID 3, so... Wait, interesting. Ooh. Ooh, I don't know about this. I feel like something wrong is wronging for the process IDs here. If it is, something has been wrong for a really long time, but I want to check something in the scheduler real quick. So the first process that gets initialized is the main process, which is actually not a real process. It is just a representation of the kernel within the scheduler system. Right, because processes can own certain resources, so the kernel owns certain resources. Memory mapping stuff needs to have a kernel process. Right, and here it is, kernel proc, which is given ID 1. But then, interesting. There is, okay, that's what's happening, okay. There is an idle process that runs if no other process is scheduled, which can happen very often, not here because this process is currently running, right, at drawing the thing, but besides, that's literally the only process that's doing anything right now. The other processes are all waiting. But at this moment, where I'm in the desktop, and I'm not touching anything, I'm not doing anything, there's nothing to be done. So most likely what's running right now is the idle process. And I was like, what's happening to the idle process? Why does it not have an ID? The idle process does not have an ID because it was never given one, and it was never initialized with init process, which is valid. It's fine. And technically the idle process literally does nothing. It only exists within the scheduler, and it's only there to make the scheduler happy, because the scheduler doesn't want to just sit around doing nothing. So it sits around letting idle process do nothing, essentially. Because it only exists here, the idle process does not need an ID. But if the idle process ever tried to do anything other than this, it will probably fail because it has ID 0. And in a bunch of places, I check if a process is invalid by ID 0. So actually, idle process having ID 0 is desirable. Because again, if the idle process tries to do something, it's not allowed to. Most likely, it will be rejected. If it's not, that's an issue in the place where it's not being rejected, not an issue of the idle process. Okay. So with that solved, for reasons, the audio process is the first one that gets loaded. On the Raspberry Pi, I had to put in a little bit of a USB polling process because I don't have interrupts yet. So a couple more processes that would be loaded there if we were on Raspberry Pi. And then we have the boot state machine, which is somewhat like init. The boot state machine is the one that decides to show this animation. When this animation closes, goes to the desktop. It can be configured to use a password. It can be configured to not use desktop at all, to use a single window environment, like a full screen environment. It can be configured to be headless, so just terminal. The state machine handles all that, and it should also handle services. So that's where I'm going to put that. However, we're going to begin with services. This is where we're going to put the package manager, which I think I'm going to call package man. Can't call it the Amazon guy. I don't think I'm allowed to do that. Pacman? No, the package man, full name, not the Pacman. I do realize it's very similar to that one. I don't know what else to call it, and that's what I called the folder on Linux in which I was going to do the repo side of this thing, and where I started writing notes, but then they never got saved for some reason. Don't know what happened with that. But it doesn't matter, again, there are notes that are not super important. Although there is one thing that I realized. I was looking here at GitHub because I wanted to have a very simple script that turns a GitHub user into a package repository. Right, where I can go to get com.dferrari.time-to-live package and pack guy. You know what? Maybe. And then get a release directly from here. But I kind of got a little misled by this, and I was like, isn't there a way to do latest, to get the latest release? And I think I did this, which is 404. That's an error. It's not correct. But the correct way the correct way to do it is this. So you can do it, I just did it wrong the first time. So my idea to maybe make a script, most likely in Lisp, to turn GitHub into a source for packages might still be on. Although, copy link. Let me see if I'm able to do this. That's the important part. Without having to use any API, just with URLs. No! No! Although, I can just go to releases latest, resolve this, and then get the tag. I'll see what I can do. Someday that I feel like writing a little bit of Lisp and dealing with GitHub, I'll figure that out. If not, I'll just host a repository with packages, but ideally I don't have to do that. Ideally we can skip that. Anyway, pack guy? Let's go with pack guy. Clearly not a clone. Very correct. Alright. So I need a makefile for this thing. And I'm pretty sure. I hate that it opens it in this file browser because it's genuinely trash. But I did what I wanted to do, which is copy that makefile. Alright. Rename it to service makefile. And what this is going to let me do is this makefile is going to go through each folder that is in here. It is going to run this makefile inside of the folder, create a binary, and then install it automatically. Should handle all of that for me. That's how it does it in tools, that's how it does it in user, that's how it does it in libs. All of those get built like that. So I have a single makefile for all the libraries, all the tools, and all the modules, and now all the services as well. Very convenient stuff. Of course, though, it doesn't realize that this is a makefile. Alright, so you link against shared and against libs. That's good. Your entry point is main. That is good. You compile... Ooh, this compiles CPP too. That can go. Don't need that. Although I will leave it here because I do need to copy it because unfortunately I'm going to have to restore C++ here to bring the old terminal back. Alright, you will install to RedOS services. And the boot SM is just going to blindly run these services and maybe even be able to restart them. But it's CBARN. Right, so besides that, you're going to just do this, do that, da, 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 da. You can even compile assembly and C++. You can even compile assembly. Very cool. And then that is it. That is it. That is all I need. I think. All right. Let's find out if packguy can work. We're going to make a main.c for it. We're going to make a very simple script. Int main, int argc, char pointer argv array, and then print. I used to do prints, hello world prints in different languages. I haven't done that in a while. Portuguese, now we've already done Portuguese. Actually, yeah, let's do Ginger Bill language. And then we're just going to return 0 because that's the end of the service. It doesn't need to do anything else besides this. Although it should have a loop because it should keep itself open. Kinda meant to be a long-running service type of thing. Don't matter. It's all the same. Alright. Now, just have to go to the Makefile and tell it to, while I'm at it, clean, because I always forget to do clean. So I'm going to start with that one. Services. So clean that folder. Then okay. You're going to do services by first building the shared library, other libraries, preparing the file system, and then making services. Which of course, this makefile will pick up, go through these folders with this makefile, build them, move them. Should be easy enough. And then we just have to tell the system that when you run, you also run after libs services. Okay, that should do it. Let's just do make and check the result. Packguy.elf and packguy.bin were built. That's good. And then if I go to fs redOS services, there's packguy. Very good. Very good. Okay, packguy has been built. So now I can go into the boot state machine, boot process it's called, and it's going to be a different flow. For running services. All right, so first off, you're going to eval the boot state machine. So, okay, we have a boot state machine. We should also have services at some point. Should they always be active? Or no, I'm going to put them in their own state, in their own step. Right, so this is the whole transition system. Right now, here's how it works. When you're nowhere, you go directly into userland. When you're in a screensaver, you go into userland. When you're in login, you go to either userland or screensaver. When you're in userland, loserland, I was gonna say, Jesus. You transition back to the non-state, so you reset the state machine. Yes, however, before going to those, you go to services. And then when you're in services, you transition to userland. BSM services. All right, so that's how it's going to work. We're going to go into services. However, in services, it's a little bit more complex logic. So what we are going to do is traverse a directory boot redOS system services non-recursive, and when we traverse that directory, we're going to void load service with a const char directory and a const char service. We're going to put those two together, execute it, and after we're done with that, then we're just going to set the current process to null so that we automatically transition to the next state. Pretty sure. If there's no current process or the current process is stopped, advance the state machine. So yeah, the next step, we're going to do that. All right, so here we can just put will load process as a service. And here we should be seeing for the first time the pack guy. Okay. I don't see it. I don't see it in the slightest. Another thing that I'm gonna do real quick. No, git checkout b services. All right, I'm gonna be better about managing my features in different branches and reviewing my code a little bit more before I merge it. It was a wake-up call that I implemented file system in user space, and I never even realized I never implemented read and write for files. So it's the guy in the top bar. He doesn't have a name. Should we give it a name? I don't think that worked though. Even though this it's kind of weird actually. Well, maybe it just didn't. Maybe I just gave it the wrong directory. Because like none of this worked, but it clearly moved to the next step because it's in userland. Boot redOS services. See? That's the wrong place. Oh, but system is actually like app systems. So yeah, services. We'll load process dot and pack guy as a service. Okay, so clearly we're gonna skip anything with a dot in the name. Is the guy on the top bar the pack guy? Nope. Pack guy is the Pacman. It's the package manager. Okay, so we'll only be loading that one as a service. And then we should probably keep track of which services we launch, should we not? Yes, we should, but I can be bothered. String full name, string format, s directory service, string free full name, and then execute full name, no arguments, keep focus. There, that should be executing our little what? Wait. Nope. I don't see it. Is the boot process going to mount a directory to view stuff like running services? It should. It should. It can. Again, when I say everything is a file, everything should be a file, but I'm not going to build something like that until I need something like that. By the way, one big candidate for building what I'm doing right now should be binding directories. So that again, just going to /apps takes you to different places, different sources, but that's something that I've maybe been wanting to do for a while, though I'm not entirely sure I want it, because that can be pretty problematic. I don't know. But if I do want it, now's the time to build it. But something like that, yes, will be useful, but probably will become useful once I need to debug what services are running and whatnot. Another big service that's going to be coming up is the, distributed file system, the one that talks to the other nodes. So then I'll probably need that. But right now, that's not really a point to it. Let me keep this, because like I don't see the process actually running. We load process pack guy as a service. Are you not doing it though? I don't see you doing it though. Unless I need to schedule it. I don't think I need to schedule it, but maybe. No, it failed. That's what happened. Okay. And it failed why? It wants a .elf. This part kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie, the whole .elf thing. Gonna do a fallback like that. It's not the cleanest. 0 still. Hold on. If it contains slash, then that's the entire program name. Let me see what this executable looks like, because that's a really ridiculous name. I will leave a to-do for it. Execure. Services pack guy. Okay, yeah. That's wrong. Okay. Um, yeah, so the logic for this is kind of dumb. It should look more like this. Try to load it directly. Right? If it contains a slash, that's an absolute path. Try to run it directly as an absolute path. Oh, but you want the name. Yeah. Hold on. So here. So more so, hold on. No, it was fine the way that it was before. I should just need to invert the condition. First, do it with just the program name. And if that fails, try to do this thing. Alright, so remove this and this. And use the program name directly. Okay, so try to load the process directly with the full path that we've been given. If the full path fails, try to maybe see if you can go inside of that full path and load it, its elf inside of it. Which, by the way, should only be for .reds. Hello world, mate. There it is. Okay, so our service is officially there. Very good, very good. So we have a package manager. Now, the package manager will be able to talk to, let's begin with /apps. That's the first one I'm gonna do. So we're going to include the file system module, so we can create a file system in user space. We're gonna call our file system, I'm just gonna copy some boilerplate for this. We're gonna do that, and we're gonna do this. Which that's a better way to have that to do, because this is more permanent code. This is gonna go to /apps, apps folder. Version number is fine, but we will not be doing it with this file system. We will be doing our own custom thing. No, maybe I can keep this actually. Wait, this is the wrong file, so maybe I don't keep that. Include files VFS. Good. And we will continue using the read dir function from it. However, I'll probably be updating it. No, I will be using a custom one actually. This custom read dir will use a const char path, void buffer, a size t for the size of the buffer, and a file offset pointer offset. and it will return VFS read dir on the same path, buffer, size, and offset. Before doing that, though, it will be doing refresh apps. Which reset. Okay, that's what I need. Which will be cleaning up what's currently in our directory. Yes, okay. So first off, we're gonna see how many entries there are right now. This is just for cleaning up. Stack count of entries, which is a thing provided by VFS here. For size ti starts at 0 to count I++. Clean up entry. Is that even necessary? Yes, I believe it is. No, I believe it is not. I sure hope not. Okay, so I actually don't need to do this. I can just call stack reset on the entries, completely erase whatever is there at that point. And then I'm going to be creating new entries for the directories based on what I had in the launcher. These two things. I will be going through /home applications and /boot RedOS system, and I will be putting them all together here, including skipping the launcher. For now, at least. So I'll need to copy that. I'll also need to copy this. And then these entries. I will be doing make entry. Is that how you do that? Just make entry with no return. Yep. Make complex entry, actually. The name of this entry is going to be the name of the file. It is a transform type of entry. It is a directory. It's data signature red package. And after that, it is also going to be led by these actions performed on it, and it's going to have some alias info, if I am not mistaken, in the form of a string. Oh, so I do need to free the string eventually. A string that will point us to the original entry, directory and file. Alright, so inside of /apps, we're going to find all of our applications with this thing by going through this and this. What is your problem though? Right. I need to actually include that function, files helpers.h. And this menu in it, you don't need it. You don't need it. And also, you'll be going through apps, and I'm pretty sure I put it in the file browser for some reason, okay. Which I think said was not showing me properly. Oh no, I was looking at the launcher, okay. Okay, so this is gonna be apps folder, and it's gonna work like that. Okay, cool. Unfortunately though, I do need to have that little iteration to free these strings. That would be stack get an entry is a module file, if I'm not mistaken, from entries index I, and you're going to get its alias info path, and you're going to string free that. Okay. So we're properly cleaning everything up. Look at that. I never do this. Okay. So this will be loaded as a global apps module. And there will be another one for tools that works in the same way. That's not a good sign. Let me begin by taking this out. I'm not going to clean up that memory because I'm a little bit suspicious of how I'm cleaning it. Though it still doesn't help. Alright, so the problem is here, right? Yeah. I'm literally not doing anything? Although, one thing I do need to do is check if anything has been loaded ever. And loaded the first time. That's kind of important. So it still crashes. And what's weirder is it doesn't even tell me where it's crashing. Like there's no stack trace there whatsoever. And it's in the kernel, not in this userland application. It's crashing when checking if the process is privileged. That's all the information I have. That's a problem. I don't even know which one of them is crashing it. Like, why am I not getting a stack trace whatsoever? And why does the stack trace break every 5 minutes? The one thing I need to not break is always broken. But most importantly, what exactly is it? Is it this? No, don't make a dump. Make a run for it. It's not this. What? Mm, mm, okay. Gonna pull out a tool that for the last 2 times has actually been useful, but I never fucking trust it. The crash is coming from the file system's get stat and nothing else? What? From here? Okay. Walk or alloc? What? What is walk or alloc? No. Okay, it's a memory issue? Um, I don't know which one, what is happening exactly. I love how everyone has Doom in the OS they make. Of course you have to have a Doom. More questionable Linux? Well, what do you mean by that? What can be more questionable than Linux? By the way, it somehow seems to think that this get stat call came out of nowhere. It materialized itself out of thin air. This is zero. Encountered a Linux bug? No, it's my code. Unfortunately, it is my own code. Is there a difference? Holy shit. Wait, there is a difference. Am I running this in privileged mode? No, I don't. No, right? No, that would be stupid. No, how could I possibly be running it in privileged mode? No, no, that's literally impossible. No. I hope. uh, I think it is impossible, yes. Code anarchist, main contributor that has contributed mostly to networking and to virtual memory. Um, I'm so confused. Okay, so even as... Damn it, I quit the shell. Anyway. I thought I was quitting GDC, Jesus, the Game Developers Conference. I thought I was quitting... GDB is what I'm trying to say. I'm very confused by what's happening with the service. But I am very happy about how quick it was to put services together. Of course, it didn't work. It gets loaded, but the second I try to access it with stat, I don't even get to the process. Hold your horses. Job 1 fulfilled by 2, and when writing back, it fails. This address is not valid. I have a slight feeling that GDB might have lied to me. Hold on. Fucking GDB, man. I am flabbergasted by GDB. What the genuine fuck is it talking about? GDB lives in its own fantasy world where everything is stupid. Because, look at it carefully, the crash is happening at this address. Do we see this address anywhere in the call stack? That, by the way, begins at address 0. I understand it sounds like GPT, but I'm talking about GDB, which is supposed to be a GNU debugger, but it's a GNU or a goddamn bugger. That's what it stands for, because it creates more bugs than it fixes. It is genuinely showing me something that isn't actually happening. You useless joke excuse of a piece of software. It is literally making shit up. It also tells you this means that stack is probably corrupted. It always says that. Always. Always. Every single time. Don't worry about that. The previous frame is never identical either. It's literally straight up lying. Just making shit up, man. Even if this was like, maybe GDB is telling the truth and my debugger is wrong, here's the thing. All of this, all of these are from after, way after, the call to get stat was made. So what the genuine fuck is GDB talking about? This makes no sense whatsoever. Not in the slightest does any of this make any sense. The GNU debugger, Jesus Christ. It creates more bugs than it fixes. How is this a debugger? I've never seen a more useless piece of software than GDB. It is I'm actually surprised every time it breaks because it keeps breaking in more outrageously stupid ways. Where it's like, it's impossible that it breaks like this. It makes no sense. But memory being corrupted doesn't really make sense. What I'm seeing here is a job fulfilled by this thing. Fulfill job. Wait. That is the last thing I see. And then... Hold on, let me see about this. Cleaning up thread. We are way beyond the point where GDB is telling me we're crashing. And I'm following everything perfectly fine. It's making sense. Everything's making perfect sense. Switch proc? I don't think it's that. Hello, typical jobless. I just got a notification I've been following for a year. Interesting, nice. I have been streaming for about a year, so it makes sense. Not sure exactly when I started. It doesn't seem like Twitch wants to tell me exactly. Claimed it was Friday. Come to think of it, I streamed on a Friday for the first time officially, but I did a test stream the day before, so that would be a Thursday. So I guess the anniversary that Twitch was telling me was not that I've been affiliate for a year, but that I've been streaming for a year. Even though the other thing came a week later, so yeah. Um, okay. Here's the part that's a little bit concerning to me. All this code has been working so far, despite my best efforts, for the longest time. So that's very weird. Oh no, it's not. I understand what's happening now. It's a very simple fix, really. Maybe keep the process running. The problem is I'm never unloading the module. That is not a thing that I'm doing right now. Or if I am, I'm doing it wrong and I'm leaving behind some stale references. That's the problem. That's what's different about this process as opposed to others. Although, well, okay, now it's a crash, but not in kernel space anymore. That's kind of good. Process 5 has crashed. That's off to a better start, I would say. Though I'm not sure why. Okay, there it is. Do I need to initialize the entries? So I'm pretty sure I need to initialize the entries and I'm not doing that. No, not really. Well, hold on. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Go that. Alright, that's usually handled when this is called, but since I'm never calling that, I might as well just put this in manually. And now it shouldn't crash at all. And it should be able to stat an empty directory. No, it still crashes. Though it crashes even sooner now. Boy, do I love that all my code keeps crashing all the time. Let's just do that. Okay, that worked. Okay, that's what I expected. The question is, why is putting it here working but not here? That's easier anyway. Alright. Time to do it. Properly this time. No, it crashes. Again. Why? Why? It's not that this time. Now it's crashing on this address. Was I wrong though about GDB being useless? Was I wrong about that? Because it was genuinely hallucinating what was happening. That is the one place where it couldn't possibly be crashing. Alright. It's crashing in the allocator. That's not good. That's not good. Don't crash in the allocator. It's a bad thing to do. We don't want that. The memory was corrupted as the process was finished. I mean, maybe, but there's no way a piece of software is this useless. Like I kind of got confident today because yesterday and today I actually got it to be useful. But most of the times GDB is completely useless. Like it's genuinely a useless piece of software. Why are we crashing in the allocator now? And most importantly, the one crashing now is, in fact, Stop process with code 36. 36? That's not good. That is not good. There is definitely some memory corruption happening. But it is genuinely faster to just put a bunch of prints in the code than to figure out what the hell. Um, oh, what the hell GDB is going on about? Anyway, there is one thing. If strlen file and file equal to dot, we're gonna skip the dot files as well. Though it still crashes. Okay, but we are getting home application ghost red, cred, doom.red, brain.red, rule gen, demo.red, cursors. Cursors not. Why is cursors in here? Why did I put cursors in there? That's very weird. Anyway. I'm gonna have to clean that up, and I'm pretty sure like the cursors need a little bit of like extra work, to be honest. So which one of you is the problem? Is it that it's an aliased file? Is it that no. You should just be listing these entries without anything extra. And you should be cleaning them up, though maybe that is the problem. It's really weird because the same thing works in another one, so. God damn. And again, for the millionth time, stack trace is gone off the system. So it makes it a million times harder to see what's happening because, of course, the other stack trace, which is GDB, never worked. Okay, that's convenient. It actually works. So let's see. VFS.h. That guy. It's creating this stuff. Which is then allocating. There's some memory corruption happening for sure. I can't say I understand why. Don't think that's gonna change anything. Yeah, no. Okay. As I keep working, I keep debugging more of this damn thing. Uh, Bro, that's literally it. Treating a string like a string slice like a string. Nope. Damn it, I should have kept the print. And you are a string, right? Yes. Joining this and empty string. I don't understand why this allocation is failing, I have to admit. But I do understand why it's wrong. I do need to check out the allocator a bit. Oh my god. No, there's something happening with the allocator now. There's something really weird happening with the allocator now. Because now it's on VFS 212, which goes to router 30. Creating a hash map. Creating a hash map. And allocating. And then allocate. What's happening there? Man, why do I keep running into... This is getting so annoying. Every time I try to build something, I keep running into bugs. Only when I'm streaming. When I'm not, everything goes by so smoothly. And the error is this. The error is translation fault level 2 for the address 1010. That's not a correct address. That is not a correct address. That is the problem. The page that we're trying to draw into is not correct. Who is overriding? Okay. I guess process of elimination. This is not helping, I can tell you that much. The fact that we were using the file here, which is a temporary buffer thing. So it is gonna be freed. That's probably like messing with it somehow. No, that's not enough to cause this. Alright, so make a normal entry now. Using this thing. Backing literally doesn't matter. Directory. Data signature literally does not matter. Empty buffer. Just make that. What if I don't create the entry? Okay. That's a start. Make entry this is already created, so that's not gonna happen. It is going to already copy the name, so that's not even gonna be a problem. Backing type, entry type, file buffer, 0 references, not read-only, which by the way is probably deprecated, gets the file ID, serial number, data type. Okay. Backing type, entry type, actions is empty, 0 references, not read-only, data type, file ID. If you have a fashing function, do this. Otherwise, call it that. Although, I'm not sure why I'm not doing it like this. Which is doing the same thing, really. It's just a cleaner way of doing it. Alright. So, this is actually not needed. It will already be copying it. This one also fails? I think so. Yes. So weird. And the one crashing is the one that's providing this stuff. Not the other one. And only if I make an entry. The size of a module file is what I'm using here. This is weird. The allocator failing at this point would be so wrong, too. Failing just for this. That feels like a really weird thing. The allocator can fail. That's a virtual memory problem, but not at this level. Again, I'm literally not even doing this, so... There is one string here that I'm not freeing. But that's not gonna be the cause of this. Yeesh, this is annoying. I might as well check. Okay. So, process of elimination. What if I just give you a random file name? Okay. What? What do you mean? What? What? No, what? No, but what? I was almost concerned the bug fixed itself. And yeah, it kinda did. I mean, there's a difference now between make entry and make complex entry. Um, the complex entry is never getting a buffer, which is probably just messing with that a little bit. Physical backing, I don't think is the problem. Oof. Oh boy. I don't understand. It's the alias. It's just the alias, isn't it? It's gotta be. Don't. I'm so confused. You free the alias and it's not copied? I'm freeing it here. Else, if this fails, I'm freeing it. Unless you mean down here, but I don't think that's the case. Here I'm just signing it. Okay, the difference is squarely between this function and the other one. Well, I'm so confused. I mean, I'm gonna try not freeing it, but... It's gonna be something really dumb, isn't it? Okay, let me try something. Let me try something. Alright, let me check this. It's probably the way that I'm handling it. Yeah. It's the way that I'm handling the alias, probably in the VFS. Is this the only place? No, there's 17 places where I'm doing that. Alright, so not enclose. Here's complex entry. Open aliased, not the case. Open, not the case. Emit route contents. Now we're talking. That could be a place where this is failing somehow. Okay. Please work. I'm tired. I'm so tired. Mm, okay. Ghost.red, doom.red, brain.red, demo.red. Okay. Those are the contents of the directory. These. Yeah, and why am I returning the wrong name? Hello, Laliet. Okay. So, I should be getting in here, right? Wait, it's not all. It's only one that fails. Either only one fails or at the end. It's a ghost.red, doom.red, brain.red, demo.red. Ghost.red, cred, doom.red, brain.red, demo.red, cursors. That doesn't count, does it? That folder's not really supposed to exist. Alright, let me see. These are the module files. So I can see. Ghost Doom Brain Demo. Ghost Doom Brain Demo theme terminal file browser. It's either crashing with demo or with theme. Now the interesting thing about demo is that it is the first one to be located in boot instead of home. So that could be the issue. Okay. Now, it says processing entry for query this thing. These never match, so I don't even know what the hell I was doing in here in the first place. If it has one of these, which it does not, otherwise, is it you? I mean, it's gotta be you, right? The other two conditions don't match, so it's gotta be LPC data LPC length. Right, tell me those two. There may be this function that I wrote last night at like 2, 3 a.m. 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep. It was too hot. Well, that's not good. Did it get worse? Did it actually get worse? Oh my god, did it get worse? I pray for the day that on a stream I can just build the thing that I'm trying to build. That day has never come, and it doesn't look like it will ever come. No, it's actually just... Okay, it's happening way later. Okay, it's happening way later. Jesus, good, okay. These are valid. Okay. So, it is actually reading them. What did I do, though, to fix it? Because none of this is valid. Anyway, that works, I guess. Now, job of type 6. Job of type 6, which if I'm not mistaken is something like a stat. Okay, so it's crashing at stat now. So we've moved forward. we're back at it crashing here. Where... Yes. We're back at it crashing here. Now. In which... Oh my god. Remember coding? Now it's just debugging. I don't remember coding. Was that ever a thing? Doom.red. Which is... It's not even the first one. It's not even the first time. The second time it crashes. The first time it works. Isn't that the best? Trying to figure out some really stubborn, super weird bug. This is my third time today doing this. On stream. I streamed yesterday too. And the day before. And this just keeps happening. And most of them have been related to this one file. But it's still a little bit much. I don't know, I feel like I deserve better than this. Treating me like this, it's not good. Alright, so the entry that is called doom.red. Why is that failing? I am done with this. I don't know what to do anymore. I cannot keep doing this. I'm trying to build shit, and I keep running into bugs that don't really make sense. When I fix them, it's like, and I'm not moving forward. And it's really, really, really getting annoying. Because, again, it's like luck. It just happens when I'm streaming. When I'm not streaming, it just goes by so easily. But then when I'm streaming, it's like, oh no, everything's corrupt. All the memory's corrupt. Your allocator that's been working so far, completely fine. No, it's corrupted. It's fucking corrupted. It's corrupted. What the fuck? It's obviously corrupted. Your allocator doesn't work. What do I do? My allocator doesn't work. And I don't know why. And I cannot build the thing that I'm trying to build because the allocator doesn't work. Oh god. So, moving forward again. Crash is happening here. Then in the router class 30 here, whatever the fuck, in a create. Now I do understand that the allocator is not... I do understand the allocator is not multi-threaded. We are multi-threading, but we're doing so sequentially. So it's weird. The first time, the second time it's reusing free memory. Let me check something. Not a single change. Not a goddamn thing changes. Oh, no, hold on. It's gotten worse, actually. Because what are you trying to get? Um, First off, should this be here? I could eliminate this entire file and it would all just disappear. And the bug would still stay there. Because this bug is not going away. Statting alias. Home projects code bring code. How can that possibly be the alias? No, how can that possibly be an alias? No, because why is that an alias? That's literally not here. Hold on. I don't even understand what the bug is right now. It keeps moving. Every time I look at it, it moves. Oh, that's an old alias. Okay, that makes sense. Um, Not entirely sure that it should. But it's not related to this, so it's fine. Stating alias. Okay, so we've actually gotten here. Home applications ghost.red. And it goes and does it in statf. Okay. That is the correct way to do it. Except it's not. Because where is the print for that? What? Yeah, resolve is empty here. It should not be empty. If the path is empty, then that is the stat for before entering the directory. Except it's not, because it cannot possibly be that. Okay, so genuinely what is happening? I'm actually so lost. And again, this is becoming such a common occurrence. Path is at the end of the string, but then it should be handling a different situation, not that. No, man, this is ridiculous. Traverse directory here. Okay, call that and then on entry. This is where it does the stat. Alright, so doing stat for S. Alright. So let me see what the actual call being made is. Clear that. None. What? None? What? It's getting the result for the wrong thing. The path is empty. So I get where this came from all of a sudden, kind of. Like, I kinda know what to do. This will solve it, but it will break other things. And actually won't solve shit. This is so cursed. Okay. No, it actually moved forward. It does the stat for abs ghost red. And then it crashes. Alright, doing stat for all of this stuff. Stat for empty. Then stat for slash in. What's slash in? What are you talking about? Okay. This is the old one. Alright, so it does... What? It's doing a stat for in. Which is somehow resulting in us creating something for slash apps. Which is not how it should work at all. Then it does the actual stat for apps ghost.red. At which point it stats ghost.red and then crashes. What the actual fuck is happening anymore? And it crashes again because of the allocator. Because of the hash map. What's the hash map gotta do with anything? It's just a hash map. It's just a hash. It's just being created. This is horrifying. I can't move forward like this. And it's always the same address no matter what I do. I'm terrified to do this because I know for a fact this is not going to work. When you free additional, it frees full path for directory. Considering it's also used for alias, I could see how it goes. Oh, you're not wrong about that. Though I don't see why it fails an allocation. This is a use after free, isn't it? Anyway, additional is like... No, it's here. I'm never freeing full path though. I'm only ever freeing the additional one that I create here. If I even create it, which is not guaranteed. I'm never freeing the full path. But also, okay. Watch this probably be worse. Alright. I put a watch point on the place. No, that's not the correct place to put it. I literally cannot even do this. That's what. Why did you jump here? What? And why is the static? Either way, that's no longer static. So let's say I take this and I do extern and I print its value. Oh, that worked. That's not exactly what I was trying to run, but I guess it worked. Anyway, apps crashed. Alright, let me try something real quick here as well. Now, one thing that does maybe concern me a little bit is that this entire header is static, but it's that shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, what I just did now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The address of the alloc page stays exactly the same. So that's not being corrupted. There's clearly not even enough information to possibly corrupt it. Like, there's not that much going on in memory. I am so confused, man. Oh my god. It's something about the way that aliases work in this thing. Alright, so let me just, like, real quick bypass this thing. Failed to open. Your mom failed to open. The fuck are you talking about? Let's do stat dir. Out stat. It's not a use after free. What's failing is an allocation. That makes no sense. Alright, there's all my applications. They go to /app/ghost.red, doom.red, brain.red, demo.red, team.red, terminal.red, firebrowser.red. So far, so good. Okay. moving on. I have to do this one by one. Ghost.red, Doom.red, Brain.red. Okay. Good. Those are fake stats, TBH. Although I do wonder what happens if I try to run one of them. This is gonna be a bad idea. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Alright. We're gonna go here now. Here. You're gonna tell me which file you found. Which file that resolved to. To your mom crashing. Whole OS from the start. That's why it's crashing so much. Ugh, it's making me want to crash out. Does it just try does it crash if you try to allocate something here before the return? Okay, so it's crashing in here. When it's trying to do an allocation, for some reason, it looks like memory has already become corrupted. So that is a fair question. Let's try to allocate a fairly big thing, but not a full page. And immediately it crashes there. We can trace it. 1, 2, 3, allocate. Allocate on this page. Then line 60. If no header free memory, it's trying to access the page for the first time. Do I have an allocator? Yeah. Now, what are those? Why am I constantly freeing? Jesus, how's that gonna help me? Oh my god. There should be a flag that I can use. Oh my god, this is so painful. This is actually so painful. The flag is this one, if and def kernel. Alright, so for user space, assuming that it's recompiling correctly, there's all of these frees happening to FE, 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 FE. Suspicious address, suspicious address, suspicious addresses. Although, how can I possibly know which one of the two processes it's coming from? Oh my god. I am tired of all my debugging tools also not working. It would be so cool if I could just put a watch and see what's happening. Which is a thing that does not work. Alright, so the only thing is a fallback proxy that's now static in here. That's significant. Alright, so the page is FE whatever. And this is the address. Can I see the exact instruction that's causing this crash? Because, like, oh, it's online 60, right? This instruction is reading from memory. So that's gotta mean that header is somehow 1010. Even though we've just established that page is FE, FE, FE. Jesus. Netif. This is why programmers lose their hair, but I refuse to lose my hair. Some motherfucker is overriding the value with x1000. Now, which motherfucker is doing this? It would be so easy if I could use GDB. Although, I'm going to do something I should not do because I hate GDB with a passion. This is not its fault. The issue here, I cannot put a watch there because GDB does not understand how virtual memory works in my system. And so I don't believe I can. But you know what I can do? Certainly fucking try. I'm going to try. Will it work? I don't know. But I'm going to try. So, the address where it's working is this one. Then we have to go 8 bytes, that's 16. 8 bytes more, that's 24. Okay, so 0, offset 8, offset 16, offset 24. And 24 to hex is 18. So the address is this one. This address is being corrupted, I believe. Come on, man. GDB, I really need you to work right now. I need this to work. All right? It depends on you, man. GDB, we're going to do this again. You're going to watch this value, and you're going to run. Okay. Now, the problem is this is going to be happening here, because it's the same value for all, but that's a good thing. There it is. GDB. GDB, you did it. GDB, you did it. You did it. Holy fuck, GDB, you did it. Wow. And this is the address that is causing the crash. Can we get an applause for GDB? Do you know how useless it is? Hold the applause. This cannot be right. This cannot be the instruction. GDB, you have to be lying to me, right? Because this is a load operation. It cannot possibly be modifying a value. Do you see the shit? Do you see how GDB lies? Do you see how GDB lies? It's gonna be running for office the way it fucking lies like that. It's literally impossible that this instruction that reads from memory is corrupting memory. That is not the case. The instruction has got to be this one. It is the instruction before. Do you see them? Do you see? Do you see? He sees. He sees it. He sees it. All right. No. It found it, but it didn't. Because that's not how it works. You cannot tell me, oh, you know, this load instruction is what corrupted memory. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. Don't fucking do that. Mind you, this is a debugger. Older than me, probably. It should be smart enough to know not to do this. So it's this. Apparently, the fallback. The fallback, which is... Okay, I'm going to put... have I run out of memory? Find that a little hard to believe, but I do have to say there has been a bug with GDB. Not with GDB. Well, yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. There has been a bug with virtual memory, in which the address that in which it's at some point it stops working. And to be honest, if that's what it is, I'm not so sure about continuing today. First off, because it's late, and it's already my second stream of the game, of the day. That's not it. That is not it. Look at the address. I am returning FFF, 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 FFF 5000. That is what my application is being given. That is the fallback you are being given. Wait, okay. Executes more slowly and reports the change in value of the next statement, not the instruction after the change occurs. Just don't do that. Just don't fucking do that. Although it is true that that's a software watch point because the address that I gave it is a virtual one. So yeah, fair. Okay, I'm starting to see what the problem is. Fallback. No, fallback is... Let me confirm that it is what I think it is. The address is now going to be 1001. It may be a threading bug, but fallback is a syscall, right? So it takes control away from the application to the kernel. The kernel executes an allocation, gives me a new address, which was, well, valid. At which point that address gets stored in the return x0, which is the same argument in which it received this, but somehow that is not happening. So it is receiving the argument as the return type. Right, so that's what's happening, because if I change the argument, the allocation will happen all the same, but then the value of header.next will be changed to that of this thing. But why? And why only here? Why only in this specific case? I'm not sure if it has to do with, like... This is why, by the way. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, this is where I call the syscalls. I get the result, I put it in here. At the end of the syscall, I save the return type, and I restore the process. Saving the return type to the main thread. Corrupting the main thread and not returning it correctly. Holy shit. What's a lot? Holy fuck. I can't believe it works. I can't believe it works. Did I say at some point, because I did think it, but I'm not sure if I actually like actively said the words. It's gonna be something really, really stupid. Because I've dealt with some ridiculous bugs this week. I've mentioned that. It's literally all I've done. And occasionally SideQuest has been building shit on stream. Mostly it's been dealing with bugs. And I do have to say to that one person that said it before, it is satisfying when you fix it, but it's so frustrating to be dealing with it constantly. However, I was right. This is ridiculous. Fucker. Jesus Christ, man. Go back to how you were. Just get there. Just get back there. Just get back in there. Just get back. That's just get back how you were. Fix it all. Fix it all. Forget that all this happened, okay? Erase my shame. Although this is correct, so it's staying. And there's a bit of extra stuff that it's staying as well. What the hell? Although this and this obviously need to go back to how they were. And then let me undo all the changes that I did now. Get out of here. You stay. You stay. Get out of here. Get out of here. No, this one can go 100%. No, 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 no. No, what did I do? Okay, we're good. Yes. I think we're good. Okay. Man. Man. Okay. Now. That is so ridiculous. Holy fuck. Oh god. Oh god. I should be able to go back to doing this one, which is a little bit like clearer. Okay. So now I have this. And stat is failing for them. No, it seems like stat is not failing for them. Well, hold on. I'm seeing some Vertio 9p errors. Okay, so it's actually not that. It is... Ah, shit, I undid this change. Which is a very important one. Yes! Kind of. The ones in one directory work, not the other one. What is the specific appeal of using C++ in the project? There is none. I barely use C++. I really hate it. But I have used it in the past, and now I'm paying for the mistakes of my past. Yeah. I'm using C, though. See, okay, this annoys me. Like, I'm tired. I want to end the stream, but I've done nothing thanks to this bug. Oh, it's the worst. The absolute worst. Anyway, so half of them work. Half of them do not. Let us see. Okay, so file browser, boot RedOS system file browser.red fails. Boot RedOS system terminal.red fails. Theme.red fails. And demo.red fails. Though it's actually a specific module that is failing. The other one is working. I do want to see in the other one. No, it still doesn't open the applications. So not incredible just yet. There is one thing I want to see here. Like, we're off to a better start already. I'm making sure that there's nothing stupid like before. Hmm. Okay. Okay. No, we're good with that. We're good with that. Okay. So then a thing that is saying is it fails to navigate to applications ghost.red/null. And that must be because we're not resolving something correctly. Some path forwarding is not working. Can I at least get that working today? That would be cool to do. Yeah, tomorrow I want to work on the code editor or something. I don't know. I'm kind of lost as to how to continue the code editor, to be completely H. But maybe I continue this instead. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow. But anyway, most likely. Where's VFS? Here. Um, Night, Ice Dave. Okay, I'm pretty much done for today. This bug really killed me. But anyway, we're trying to execute apps ghost.red. Good. Which is going to take that and open it. Here, probably. Although it doesn't say that, so not really. You build this from complete scratch? Yes. And that's why it's so horrible. Okay, you're trying to execute. I'm lost as to what's happening now. It's trying to execute apps ghost.red, which will not work. Because, obviously, it will try to open it and fail to navigate to that thing. So it will return 0. Right, so the result to this Oh, I think the issue is a different one. Oh, the issue is a different one. Okay. The issue in why we see this log but not this one. Inside of here, we are finding that the process is in user space. Oh, this is bad, 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 bad. We're interrupting the execution while we're in the kernel. For a user space program, we're in a syscall, we're interrupting the execution. We'll never get back to that process. We'll never get back to it. Did this used to work properly? Yes, but because this wasn't in user space before. This is going to be a big problem. Because the file system is not designed to work like this. At all. In the slightest. So essentially, when we try to do this, we never get back to the rest of the process. We cannot get back to the rest of the process. It also straight up crashes the application because there's nothing happening in it anymore. And unfortunately, there's not much we can do about it. I simply cannot try to execute this application like this. So I don't want to commit this, obviously. I do want to commit this. Maybe in the correct repository, Zed? Could we do that? Piss me off right now. Jesus, that was a stupid bug. Syscall return fix. And I cannot believe I never realized about it. So actually that's going straight to threading. That's where it belongs. Okay, seeing this, I do believe tomorrow I'm not going to be working on this. I'm going to be working on something else, unrelated, until I figure it out, because this is a kind of major issue. We're in a user space program, but we're in a syscall, so we go to kernel space. But we realize we need a resource from another program, so we don't have the ability to return here. This is not a thing that we can do. We can only return here. So most likely the simplest thing for me to do is to resolve this thing externally. The find executable and then the execute be different things, where find executable can easily just be like, hey, by the way, this thing is in a different program, so suspend the execution, do the whole thing. And execute is a syscall that just runs the thing. So most likely that is the smartest, easiest way that I can do this. But it is not something I want to rush. So tomorrow I said I was going to work on my code editor. I'm going to do that. Today I'm not going to continue working on this because there's literally nothing to continue working on. It's been a debugging session. That's what it's been. We were supposed to be building a package manager, but we did a debugging session instead. It is what it is. Such is life. Yeah. And as a result of the debugging session, I get to debug more stuff, or rather to do more stuff. But hopefully I can just like redo this entire function, which has been kind of long overdue. You can name your package manager 0x1001. Look, I'm not Notch to call something that. It's not a bad, I mean, it's not a bad idea, because, yeah, a little inside joke, I like that, but it is not super readable. And most importantly, what are you going to type that in the terminal? I don't hate the idea. We could do X1000, X1001. Nah, I don't know. I like it, but unfortunately, it's not too it's not too user friendly. Not that the current name Pac Guy as Pac-Man, but not, is particularly good. Then again, I'm not good at naming things. But oh well. Okay, yeah, most likely the solution here is to just refactor the whole exec thing into first resolve executable and then execute with just find the program and run it. No aliases, no adding .elf at the end of it, no looking in different directories. Resolve first, then do that. And resolve, funnily enough, is going to be a function of this new system. That's what I believe I will be building. Have package manager as an alias in some search menu. You know, it's funny, I haven't really thought of how to do aliases in my system, although, spoiler alert, it's going to be thanks to the Lisp scripting like that. It's going to be really easy. You can just create a function in Lisp called anything. You can create a function in Lisp called package manager. You can create a function called pacman, and it resolves to the package manager command line. That is the benefit of a scripting language. It should make that really, really easy, but I haven't really tested it. Okay. String alias name in the apps config file. We don't have a config file. Ideally, we can do it with just scripting without making it too complicated. Like, I can do a shorthand for alias, of course. It's not like you need to write Lisp for it, but better than writing aliases, which are just commands with strings around them. Apps had a definition. Oh no, they have a package. Yeah, they have a package.info file. That's what you mean. No, the alias shouldn't be pre-configured by the application. You should configure it yourself. Anyway, I opened the main stream of the main page of Twitch, and Ludwig is just doing shit. Why are you showing me that? Anyway, okay, so I might do a win-win. Thanks to the package manager, this entire function goes away. And, well, it doesn't go away. It just works in the correct way of just like you need to resolve using the package manager to resolve an executable, and then you execute it with it. So you know what? I turned the, oh, I'm gonna have to refactor this, I want to do it over the week, into maybe something that I can do tomorrow. Okay. I am not committing, well, maybe I want to commit some of this stuff, right? But this I'm not committing, so error, just to remind me of where we're going with this. Before calling this, resolve executables to their aliased name externally. Which is unfortunate. I wanted aliases to be fully opaque in my system. At the current time, this is not going to be possible. However, this refactor of making this function just not as smart is probably a good idea. Because now, all of the abstraction that this function is, well, abstracting, all of the functionality that this function is abstracting, which is like not having a path, not having a single place where applications are loaded, but two, is now being moved into the package manager. So because of that, this can also be moved into the package manager. The problem will go away. All right. What C compiler are you using for this project? GCC. The ARM GCC, because it's an ARM project. Okay. So again, I'm not even sure what to do for the code editor right now. So I may just work on this tomorrow. I guess we'll see. I'm streaming at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow, so I guess we'll see then. And I will see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.